Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. I got a Red Dead Redemption 2 Carcano. It's a video game gun, and really it's a video game gun because the Carcanos didn't actually ever come with a scope like this. This was a summer reading project slash research project I ended up doing for fun and came out with a beautiful Red Dead Redemption 2 Carcano. So out of the many rifles in Red Dead Redemption 2, this one is probably one of the most controversial ones, mainly because it was not around in 1899 or even 1910. That's right, the original Carcano long rifle was first developed in 1891 for the Italian military. It was meant as a primary service infantry rifle and fired a 6.5 caliber. Later on, in about 1894, the cavalry carbine and the Troupe Spéciale or Special Troops carbine would be introduced, but those weren't featured in the game. Either of those three Carcanos would have been well suited to fit the time period. This Carcano is an M38 and was introduced in 1938 and fired the 7.35. Also later on, the M9138, which looks exactly like this Carcano, was introduced because the Italian military realized that the logistics of producing a 7.35 caliber rifle and producing the ammunition for it would have been very difficult during a time of war, during World War II. So they came out with the M9138, which is in the 6.5 caliber. That Carcano would be forever known in history because it was supposedly used by Lee Harvey Oswald in the JFK assassination. Maybe that's why they added it in the game, because it's very well known in history for that aspect, but realistically, yeah, it should have been a different model Carcano. Now, a little bit more about this Carcano that I got here. Man, I know some of you guys out there are like, Dan, why you gotta be butchering military surplus rifles? No military surplus rifles were harmed in the making of this video. This rifle was already cut here. The stock was already refinished by its previous owner. There was already a cutout here for some kind of scope, it seemed like. The scope itself it was a broken scope, so I got it for really cheap, and I kind of fixed the crosshairs in it, but it's just, you can't get back to the original crosshairs. The original crosshairs were just really thin. I think I would just need to get a replacement, if anything, from the actual company. But essentially, this is more like just a novelty from the game and just kind of soak in that Red Dead Redemption 2 nostalgia. Now, in the game, you'll notice that the Carcano has these two stems that protrude from the scope and the scope rings. And one of the stems actually looks like it screws directly into the stock. Now, if you know anything about rifles, you know that a scope should not be mounted into the wood stock. It's just gonna break the stock or just gonna be very inaccurate. It should be firmly mounted to the receiver itself, and some scopes can be mounted to the barrel as well. Now, I didn't intend for this scope to be any accurate either, and as far as accuracy, well, yeah, it's not accurate at all. Every time you fire it, the scope wobbles and it gets bent up out of shape. That's because I used coat hangers to actually mount it. Now, this is not even like permanently mounted on. The wire coat hanger actually fits perfectly into the hole in the receiver to hold the trigger group together, which turned out to be perfect for this. The front here coat hanger, I had a hard time trying to figure out how to get it mounted here, so I just kind of like wrapped it around the rear sight, and it's really just not anything that's permanent, and it's just very unstable, and it was just kind of something I just wanted to do just to make it look good. But yeah, if I was gonna try to refine this to make it accurate, yeah, I would need to actually put an actual scope mount on here, because this is just too wobbly, guys. But I wanted to make it look more like the Carcano in Red Dead Redemption 2, which also just has kind of little stems that come from the scope, which in reality means that the Carcano in RDR2 is just gonna be wildly inaccurate if you were to have something similar to that in real life. Now, as far as Carcanos with scopes, the Carcano M38, as we mentioned before, used in the JFK assassination, allegedly by Lee Harvey Oswald, that had a very slim scope on there, which could also be a reason why the developers chose a rifle for the game. But the scope that was on there was not military issue. The scope that was on those rifles were actually done by the importers. See, when they got them as surplus coming into the US back in the 60s, these importers needed a way to sell these rifles and not just say, hey, here's some iron sight rifles to try to go hunt with. They actually mounted these scopes on there. They would make a little extra money doing so, and the customer would get a rifle with a pre-mounted scope. Now, as far as accuracy of those scopes, I've not tested that. This particular rifle, though, without the scope, obviously, was able to hit a 5-foot by 5-foot target at 600 yards, and it actually surprised me because I didn't think that you can get this much accuracy out of the Carcano. I was using 7.35 by 51 millimeter Carcano by Steinel ammo, and that ammo seems to be very consistent. I always enjoy some of their lineups that they have for the military surplus rifles. Thank you, Steinel Ammo, for helping support the channel. Big shout out to you guys. Now, as far as this goes, I'm probably going to just put it back to original military configuration. It was a great novelty project. Don't see any use for it. Might try to get the scope fixed and put it on a different rifle that I have somewhere else, but just thought, hey, I could make it work. Well, either way, this is a really cool Red Dead Redemption 2 themed Carcano. Definitely looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 3. How many of you guys are looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 3? What time frame do you think that RDR3 will take place in? Are we gonna see something more mafioso style? Or are we gonna see something maybe a little earlier, like during the American Civil War? Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. Also, help support the channel. Check out the merchandise link in the description. Pulverize the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And as always, be sure to learn history and curate history. Make it a great day.